Hi, I'm Denis. Welcome back to my channel DMaker. If you haven't yet, please consider following my Instagram account to get some insights of the ongoing projects and share some of your ideas with me for future projects. Today's video is about how to make a simple wooden staircase for a garage or workshop. Please note that this kind of staircase is not supposed to use at home, neither it should be used by children or people with any kind of physical limitation. You should always comply with your local rules before you install any type of stairs. Okay, disclaimers apart, let's dive into the video.
Up until now, we had this old ladder to go up and down, so we definitely need a staircase. The staircase will have two stringers, which will be approximately at a 40-degree angle with the floor. And according to my calculations, I will have 12 steps, each one with a run of 23.5 cm and a rise of 19.5 cm. I will not go into details on how to make these calculations in this video. You can find a comprehensive video on how to calculate stairs in the above link. For both the stringers and the steps, I use 4.5 cm thick and 23.5 cm wide beams of Nordic pine. I'll start by cutting all the steps to 80 cm width using the miter saw. Now that I have all the steps, I will mark their location in the stringers. For that, I made an improvised jig using a piece of wood with a slot on each end and a framing square fixed with C-clamps. I just need to mark the 23.5 cm run on one side of the square and the 19.5 cm rise on the other side, and clamp it with a pair of C-clamps. This way I'm able to mark all the steps, making sure they all have the same angles and distances. Now I can mark the locations of the end cuts of the stringer, as well as the locations of the steps recesses. After marking all the cuts in one stringer, it's time to mark the same thing on the other one, making sure I flip the jig upside down to get the correct angles for this stringer. Then I compare both stringers side by side to make sure they are perfectly aligned before making any cuts. To make the end cuts, I use a circular saw with a guide and leave a 2 mm margin to make room for any corrections when installing the staircase. It's time to make the guides for routing the rebates for the steps, and since there will be a lot of cuts, I decided to make a jig to make the job easier. To make the rebates, I use the router with a straight bit and make 2 passes until I reach the final depth of 15 mm. After making the rebates, I test them using one of the steps and it fits just fine. Now I can connect the pieces of the jig together with nails to make it usable for the next cuts. I made sure the jig has a tight fit so that I can always have the correct angle for each step. The rebate for the last step goes all the way, since the step will be close to the wall. The amount of dust and wood chips is considerable, which means only one part of it is collected by the shop vac, and the rest goes directly to the floor. I sand the rebate slightly by hand to get a better finish. The same thing is done all over again in the other stringer, but this time I use a chisel to help remove some wood so I don't take it all with the router. Now I need to make holes for the bolts that will connect the stringers to the floor and to the wall. Since these holes should be perpendicular to the wall and the floor, I will use my drill guide to make sure the holes are straight. You can find the link for this useful drill guide in the video description below. The same guide can be adjusted to the desired angle, and here I will use it to set the correct angle to countersink the hole to accommodate the bolt head. For that, I use a Forstner bit and carefully make room for the bolt head and the edge socket. Now it's time to sand all the steps and the stringers with an orbital sander in order to remove most of the imperfections. I decided to use a protection against any kind of wood worms and bugs to make sure the staircase will hold its integrity along the years. After letting the wood dry overnight, I applied a coat of water-based stain to protect the wood while giving it a slightly darker color. To assemble the staircase in place, I start by laying one stringer on the floor and inserting each step in its position. Then I connect the other stringer, making sure each slot is tight with the corresponding step. After laying the staircase on the floor, it's time to fix the steps with screws. The steps will have 3 screws on each stringer, and I have previously marked their location off camera. I used special construction screws, which don't need pre-drilling due to their special thread that reduces the splinting effect. I'll leave a link to these screws in the description below in case you're interested. One important thing to have in consideration is to make sure each screw goes 90 degrees with the stringer, and for that I use a small square to help. The staircase is now assembled and much heavier, so 2 persons are needed to put the stairs in place. After finding the right spot, I've marked the location of the bolts on the floor and the wall using a long screw. Then it's time to drill the wall and the floor using a hammer drill with a concrete drill bit. Finally, I fixed the staircase in place using long Hags wood screws.
I'm quite happy with this staircase and it's very robust and easy to use. The next thing to do now is to add a handrail to make it safer to use. Anyway, I must say that right now it's much safer than the previous leather that has been used for a while. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Be sure to follow my Instagram account to help me grow on that platform as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can build it.